Bunnyman.
And I'm Crazy Susie.
And we are in the Eyes of Terror.
And this is our second movie for this series.
Mother's Day, something massacres. Yay.
What?
Mother's Day, something massacres. Yay.
And number 2 in the lineup is Flesh-Eating Mothers. Because you all know when your mother really loves you, she craves your flesh.
1988.
You're just really concerned about that year, aren't you?
I really am.
Every time you're like, I have to say that part. This film is unrated. It is a comedy horror. And IMDb scores it a 4.2 out of 10.
This one is a instant classic.
It's a what?
Insta classic.
Insta classic. The director is James Aviles Martin. He's also one of the writers, along with Zeal. I don't know.
I thought it was Zeph. Or
Zev? I guess.
Yeah.
Zev
All right.
Schlesinger, I believe. Okay, and the cast. Robert Lee Oliver plays Jeff Nathan. Donatella Petch plays Linda Douglas. Neil Rosen plays
Rinaldi.
Yeah. Vinaldo. Valerie Hubbard plays Joyce Shepard. Terry Hayes plays Tim Noland. Catherine Mayfield plays Sylvia Douglas. Susan Enrich plays Rita Vivaldo. Luis Hamyuk plays Roddy Douglas. Lewis, not Luis. Ken Eaton plays Commissioner Dixon. Allie Neinstein plays Mrs. Shepard. Michael Fewer plays Dr. Lee Grewley. And there's many more to the cast than that. You can find a complete list on imdb.com. And I apologize for the rattling in the background. We're having some hot weather, and Luna is very fond of her ice cubes. Mm-hmm. The storyline for this film is a venereal disease turns an entire town of two-timing mothers into cannibals. Yes. Evidently, these past 2 films have been very fond of their venereal diseases, so that has not been a coincidence. We didn't do that intentionally.
No.
So, it is funny, though. I think that's all, even though I feel like I'm... All right. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so... And this movie has some kind of strange names, so hopefully I say them correctly, because... Once I get into it, it'll be okay, but I'm going to stumble a little bit to begin with. The movie begins with a man running in the woods with a shotgun in one hand during the winter. He looks down and he sees a trail of blood in the snow and realizes his arm is missing.
Because, you never know your arm is missing till you look and there's a puddle of blood there.
Yeah, you just don't know. Well, he realizes a woman is coming up to him, and he reaches for his gun, and he shoots her. Later on, you realize this woman is his wife, and we have our first kill. Mm-hmm. Death by shotgun. Boom. Mm. If you shoot your wife in the woods...
Does she still nag you?
Is she really dead?
I don't know.
I guess it depends on what venereal virus she has and if you shoot her in the head or not.
Yeah. That's a good question.
Or if she ingested all of your arm or not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variables there.
Mm-hmm. I think that may be grounds for divorce, though.
Lots of variables.
Yeah. So I give it a 2 out of 5.
I don't even know if I'd give it that much because it doesn't show the death,
But
the
it
killing.
sets the tone of the movie.
It doesn't show the killing.
No.
I mean, it really does show that he's fearful.
Mm-hmm.
And he's running for his life.
Yeah. So, but it
There's
sets.
just like a jagged kind of like mangled where his arm used to be, kind of shredded up.
Yeah.
She must have been really hungry. I mean, it looks like a bear got a hold of him.
Or really hungry. She. What you don't know is that she was actually on a diet. She was on Jenny Craig for a while, so that's what happened.
Maybe she really wanted to do abs of steel and she needed extra protein to bulk up.
She was doing Abs of Steel and the Poofy Leprechaun.
Poofy Leprechaun, what are you talking about?
He did a whole like series of Dancy Sweat or Sweat into the Oldies.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Simmons something.
Richard Simmons.
Yeah, she was doing a lot of Richard Simmons.
Richard Simmons didn't encourage you to eat more, though.
No, but you're sweating to the oldies. So you still get famished from sweating to the oldies.
Oh, okay. Well, it was cold, and if they were doing extra exercising, then, you know. And protein is supposed to be good because, you know, it's supposed to help increase your metabolism.
Yeah, so
It all adds up.
it does.
They say that if you eat human flesh and you're a human, that it's the easiest on digestion.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that.
That's what they say.
I think 9 out of 10 cannibals agree on that one.
That's what they say. It's what I hear.
Well, I heard that a lot from cannibal doctors.
So, then it cuts to a song about suburbia, suburbia.
I mean,
suburbia.
this was a love song to suburbia.
In suburbia, suburbia. Anyway,
And
suburbia.
it had like drawings from like you would put on your like you would put on your refrigerator, talking about how great and boring suburban life is.
Yeah, suburbia, you know. Kind of like your local store that has everything. It's like necessary evil.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do? So then you're introduced to Roddy. He has an intimate time with a woman other than his wife. And Ronaldi is being punished and is grounded to his room. Lois and her ex-husband have an argument. He gives her the check and leaves. Nathan bumps into Linda due to one of the other guys throwing a ball long. So basically, Linda and one of her friends are standing outside, you know, just kind of, I can't remember why they're standing out there right now, but they're just kind of standing there chatting, and a couple of the neighborhood guys are goofing off, and one of them throws a ball to Nathan, and he throws it a little bit long, and Nathan kind of, you know, throws himself out to catch the ball, and he bumps into Linda to catch it. She finds it pretty aggravating, and so does her friend. You know, the whole teenager, boys are annoying kind of dynamic. Roddy, he pretends to be an exercising alcoholic in order to cover up his whole I'm the neighborhood gigolo.
Yeah.
He evidently has, for lack of better term, I guess, sampled every sampler pack there is to be in the neighborhood, basically. He knows all the flavors.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes out for another jog. His wife was like, well, you jogged this morning. You know, I just want to stay fit.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see, Sue down the block and get my exercise with her. That's not what he says. He just says he's going to jog. But anyway, the women have a poker game and talk about their kids. Eventually, everyone has a jog with Roddy, if you know what I mean. The ice cream truck man is a player too. Evidently, this suburban neighborhood has a lot of issues. Jeffrey comes home and finds his mother on the kitchen floor with a black eye. He wants them to leave. She says they can't. His father would kill her. All of the women in the town seem to have an insatiable appetite. Lois was so very hungry. No food could satisfy her. So she ate Billy. Officer McCormick came over and saw her eating Billy. Billy's arm, it still had the baseball glove on it that he had gotten for him. So he shot her. It was interesting. He shot her in the forehead, and after the bullet landed in her head, blood came spouting out like a little fountain. This was the most interesting kill with a bullet I think I've ever seen in one of these kind of films. She had this look on her face, like cross-eyed, kind of dirt look. The bullet goes in, and this blood just kind of shoot it out like a squirt gun.
Yeah, it was a 3 out of 5.
It was interesting. So the number 2 kill is poor little Billy. Billy was just wanting to play ball.
Yeah.
She ripped off his catching arm.
Not my catching arm. Why my catching arm?
Of all the things. Why couldn't she have ripped off the other arm? That's probably the arm he writes his sentences for school with. He don't need that arm.
No. But he needs that catching arm. Heartless mothers.
Mothers are supposed to think of their children's. I mean, I understand that she had this insatiable appetite that only Billy could cure. I get it. Why did she have to take his catching arm? I mean, he could have went pro.
Yeah. Who needs sentences when you could go pro?
And number 3 was Lois. That look on her face, it'll haunt my dreams. All right, next, Roddy, he went to the doctor. He has to get checked out every once in a while now, because this man gets around. But he plays it safe, He might not always cover his mitt, but he goes to the doctor, to the special clinic, and he gets blood work done, and he makes sure everything's in order. So this is what he does.
Yeah, but this office is just, it's 70-esque. It's the wood panel.
It's interesting. It basically seems like it's in a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a trailer.
Well, the doctor seems sort of sleazy on top of it, so I could see that.
So he goes in to get tested.
And they only do 2 tests, though. They only do,
They test for gonorrhea and syphilis.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, the assistant nurse noticed that there was a strange virus in his blood sample. But the doctor said, "What do we treat for, nurse?" And she said, "Well, syphilis and gonorrhea, of course." And the doctor said, "Well, is it syphilis or gonorrhea?" And she said, "Well, no, it's something strange I've never seen before." And he said, Well, then you know what? It's none of my concern. So the nurse made a note of it in his chart, kept a spare sample of it, and went on about her business. You know, just in case the situation were to arise to where it would pop up again, they would have reference of it. Well, the commissioner took the bodies of Lois and Billy from the coroner's office, but not before he was able to examine both bodies and take samples. Joyce talks to her mother about her ice cream man, asks as her mom eats everything in the house. Like, this woman, she quite literally is eating a cantaloupe, rind and all. Like, she's taking bites of the cantaloupe like she's trying to eat it out of a bowl. Like, the rind is the bowl, but she's eating it, the entire thing, as she's talking, as she's sitting at the table, and Joyce is trying to explain to her mother about, you know, oh, I'm seeing the ice cream man, and he's such a good guy, and he gives me free ice cream. I mean, if I was a teenage girl and I was dating the ice cream man, and he'd be like, hey, baby, you want some ice cream? I'd be like, I want some ice cream. What teenage girl wouldn't like to be dating the ice cream man? You'd be telling all your friends, yeah, get me some free ice cream.
If you really liked ice cream, I guess.
She's a teenager.
As long as if she's lactose intolerant.
I guess it wouldn't be very nice then, because every time he asks you if you want some ice cream, you'd be like, my tummy hurts. Don't be asking me if I want some ice cream. What else you got?
You got some froyo?
You know I can't eat no ice cream. Why you got to bring up some sensitive subjects? What else you got? You got some bubblegum in there?
The bubblegum man.
So Roddy, since he has a clean bill of health, so to speak, sleeps with yet another woman. This time, his daughter sees him. When his daughter came home, she sees her mother eating her baby brother.
I think out of all of them, this one sort of, it was like, I felt sort of distasteful. I get it.
Yeah, because it was like a toddler. It was like a 3 or 4 year old. So it's like, and the child's covered in blood.
Yeah.
And
it was one of those ones where
it was very cringy.
It was one of the ones that I could, like, you could have seen, and then you could have heard the eating noises, but the brain could fill in the rest type thing.
Yeah.
It's just because I think it was just a toddler.
Yeah, it's not necessary, but I can understand why they did that, because there's that vulnerability there, so it would be easy victim, but still, you know.
So I really don't want to rate that one, just because
So, just so you know, the fourth victim was Roddy's son. Okay. So she saw this happen, and she leaves the house. She had agreed to meet up with her friends, so she goes on to do that. Rinaldi's mom, remember, he's grounded. His mother makes him his favorite dish for dinner, which is mashed potatoes. She calls him down for dinner, and she's like, Rinaldi, I made your favorite dish for dinner. And he's like, Mom, it's not like it's nothing complicated. It's mashed potatoes.
It's such a weird favorite.
I like potatoes. I like them any way you can make
I
them.
know. You and the Luna.
We like some potatoes. I eat 10 pounds of potatoes a week by myself. Don't even have a problem with it. Don't bat my eye about it. Anyway, well, she makes them. She makes a point to say, I made them extra creamy. He's like, so? He makes a point to just be like, and? You know, like a monkey could make some potatoes. Like it's complicated? Well, She goes on and asks him, "Do you know how they produce veal? How they make veal so tender?" Well, and he goes to explain, "Of course I do. How do you not?" And she gets him to explain to her the process. She says, "Yeah, well, they take the brand new little baby cow and they confine it and they make it stay in a really small area. And then they take it and they give it nothing but milk and they make it drink nothing but milk. And then he has this, she's already given him this big bowl of mashed potatoes with extra milk. She made it nice and creamy because she said, 'Oh, I made it really creamy for you, so it's good. I added extra milk to make it nice and creamy.' So then she says, 'Oh, you need milk to wash it down. Here,' she gives him a great big glass and pours it full of milk. So he's eating his potatoes and he's talking to her and being very rude by, like slopping his food and everything because he's trying to talk and eat at the same time, and they're talking about how veal's made. And then she says, they feed it nothing but milk, lots and lots of milk. That way the meat will be really tender. And the whole time she's kind of like, really? Her mouth is watering and she's just like, really tender. Well, he drinks the first glass of milk and she goes, "You need more milk." And she pours him more milk. She doesn't even let him get halfway through that second glass of milk. She gets up and she bites his head.
She bites his forehead. Of all the places to bite somebody, the forehead.
The least meaty area of a human body.
But one of the strongest areas of the human body.
Yeah.
Of all the places, not a shoulder, not...
Evidently.
A cheek? A cheek would have been more meatier than a forehead.
Yeah. She was very well versed about veal, but not about the human.
Yeah.
She should have done more research. Anyway, he just stands up, pushes her in the floor, and he's just like, "I don't know what the heck is wrong with you, what's going on with you, blah, 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 blah." He goes, "You've really done it now, Mom. I'm running away." And he leaves. He gets him a bandana. He puts it over his head. He gets a few items of his, and he leaves. He thinks his mom has just went off the deep end and she's just went nutters, and he just leaves. Okay. So next we meet two brothers. One is Timmy, one is Jeff, and they're troublemakers. So one witnesses the other getting eaten. One brother gets eaten by his mother. So number 5 is Timmy's brother gets eaten by his mother.
I sort of forgot what that one looked like.
It was just in the kitchen and he walks in.
So it was like a 2.
It wasn't anything traumatic. It was funny later on, though, because you remember later on they were outside and tried to get her to come out. And she came out and she was like, "Oh, Timmy, your brother misses you." And he's like,
Oh, yeah.
You hate my brother, like, he's weird. Jeff witnesses his mother eating his father, so he leaves to meet his friends. Timmy says his mother ate his brother. Jeff thinks they should stop them before anyone else gets hurt. So these kids are trying to figure out what the heck to do. What the heck is going on? So the coroner examines the blood samples and finds the viruses. He plans on having it checked by the Board of Health. The commissioner feels like Mr. McCormick The police officer is a dangerous man. The coroner takes the virus samples to the STD doctor and has him to look at them. The nurse, she asks about the virus sample and tells him about the sample from Roddy's blood test and the strange virus she found, and how unconcerned the good doctor was about it.
Well, it was sort of an odd virus. It was very animated.
Yeah, it was. They showed a picture of it under the microscope, and it was like Pac-Man. It was like nom, 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 nom.
Eating the cells.
It was weird. The Women's Coalition mother-daughter dinner. Some of the mothers are famished and decided to take a bite out of the
guests.
out of Joyce's mother. Yeah, Joyce's mother embraces her and then tries to eat her. Joyce makes a run for it. The police officer combs through files trying to find out information on the accident that the commissioner had. Joyce and her date hide in the toilet, and she pokes her head out the door, and she was scared by one of the guys. Jim, Timmy, and Linda come up with a plan. They decide to trap the mothers. Timmy yells for his mom, and when she comes after him, the other two will then tie her up. Jim's job was to knock her out, and Linda's job was to chain her up. Well, Timmy's mom comes outside of the house and asks Timmy to come inside because his brother was lonely. When Jim goes to hit her with the bat, she grabs it and throws it. So their plan really didn't work out very well.
No.
When that happens, they just all ran.
Well, you are talking about like 20-something year old children.
Well, they were they were meant to be like high school age.
Yeah.
Rinaldi, Frankie, and Joyce are trying to find an exit out of the building, and Frankie has to go to the bathroom. He picked the most inopportune time there was to have to go to the loo. I mean, really. One of the mothers, after another, came after them, and Rinaldi punches one of them. While she's on the ground, Frankie steps over her. I mean, he's literally like, "Excuse me, ma'am." Takes a giant step over her. As he's mid-stride over her, she grabs his leg and goes, that looks like a nice cold cut. Takes a great big bite out of his calf.
Yeah. At like no point do you just like accidentally kick her again in the head. Like just again, just to make sure that she's down.
Well, the person that punched her was Rinaldi.
I know.
Frankie's the idiot that decided,
I know.
oh, there's a person that could eat me. I think I'll
Well, he was
step
also
over
trying
them.
to like say, "Hello, how are you doing?" the entire time. Like he was trying to introduce himself. It was like, "Are you
Right. I don't think you understand the expediency of this situation.
Yeah.
These people are not the way they normally would be. We need to go."
Yeah, especially because at this time you're also seeing the progression of their faces are turning into
Right. Their faces are very distorted, kind of like they've had
Frogs.
excessive Botox.
yeah.
It's not good.
It looked like if frogs and Botox would get together on a woman's face.
Yeah, it's not pleasant. So, the next person to meet their demise is Frankie.
Yeah, well, he deserved that one. He was just an idiot.
Yeah. So, they all have fun times with Mr. Frankie. He's their appetizer. Well, the coroner and the nurse look at the virus
Are
under
you
the
sure
microscope.
he wasn't their sweet dessert?
Oh, you're funny.
Oh, I'm so funny.
The coroner and the nurse look at the virus under the microscope and determine that the virus is inactive in males, but horribly active in women who have had children. So they decide it is a virus that is spread like an STD. All of the town kids meet up. The police officer, Mr. McCormick, finds them and tells them to go to the doctor. The cop who works for the commissioner, Officer Hitchcock, comes by and tells them to come with him. The kids scatter. He's a little scary. He has blisters on his face. So, at this time, he pulls his pistol and he shoots Officer McCormick.
Yeah.
Timmy suggests that they need to stop all of this and kill their mothers. Jim thinks they need to go see the doctor. Maybe there's a cure and they can keep their mothers. They need to find out before they do something drastic. The coroner finds out the commissioner's wife had the virus. He goes to him to find out why he covered it all up. After the officer, I lost my place. Another officer came in to tell him that the Officer McCormick is dead because Hitchcock killed him. It was in self-defense. He asked Hitchcock to take care of the coroner like he did the former one. Hitchcock gets into position and is just about to shoot when a group of mothers drag him away behind a building and basically pull him apart. So, number 8, Officer Hitchcock.
I think that was one of the more bloodier ones.
Number 7, in case I didn't say exactly, that was Officer McCormick because Hitchcock shot him.
Wasn't that one of the more bloodier ones?
Yeah, I mean, and it really like zoomed in on it and showed each individual woman like
taking bits,
tearing limbs off of him. So it was pretty gruesome. So the coroner and the nurse believe that they have found a cure and decide to stick it to the mothers. The commissioner has a meeting with the police force and tell the guys shoot to kill the cannibalistic moms. Roddy comes home and sees his daughter walking with Jim and lectures her about being out past curfew. The mothers are still walking the streets and looking for a meal. The cops are on the lookout for any moms. Linda and Jim found his mom and Rinaldi's mom. She distracts them in order to get Jim's mom alone. Jim gives his mom the shot. Tim sees his mom and another mom. They fought over a cat. This was another gruesome scene. Jim's mom and the other mom, one grabs the cat by the head, the other one grabs the cat by the tail, and you can imagine, it was a tug-of-war scenario. Yes. We'll just say that. So Timmy was hiding in the bushes with a gun, and just as he was about to shoot, the doctor took the gun from him and gave his mom the shot to cure her. Next, Rinaldi gave his mom the shot. Joyce's mom was next, then Linda.
Yeah, he just sort of snuck up on them and gave this concoction that they came up with. And
while they were waiting to see if the cure worked, Timmy joined them and was singing the doctor's praises. They hear gunfire. The mothers are in town looking in a store window and talking about items they have and or would like to have. The commissioner confronts the mothers in town and goes into a phone booth.
Yeah, I don't understand why he went into the phone booth. That was like the stupidest of all places.
Well, for one, because they surrounded him, and that was the only place he could go without them getting a hold of him. They gang up on him, but he manages to escape. He runs to a warehouse. They corner him. He picks up a 2x4. And finally, the cops arrive. Well, he's swinging away with this 2x4. The cops have their guns drawn. The cops tell the commissioner to tell the truth. I'm sorry, the doctor tells the commissioner to tell the truth about what happened. And all of a sudden, as if they had flipped a switch, the mothers start returning to their normal selves. The cops put their gun away.
Well, there was this whole sort of like spiel where the commissioner was going on about how he actually cheated and, you know, he knew about it and all this stuff. And he started losing the trust of the cops. The cops were like, you know, it was just, he lost it. Mm-hmm. They, you know, they looked down on him.
He explained how his wife had turned into how the mothers had, how he was unfaithful to her, and not long after that, she had turned to one of these creatures like these women had, and she had this insatiable hunger, and she tried to eat him, and that's why he shot her, and
that's how he lost his arm.
And he didn't know what to do, so he covered it up. Well, the doctor asked the nurse how she managed to find the cure so quickly. She said, penicillin. It is the cure for STDs. And number 10, the last scene. Roddy is glad that he has his wife. His wife and he are agreeing to an open marriage arrangement. They kiss and...
No, he's going on about an open...
Right.
He's going on about how he wants it, not her.
He's talking about it and saying that would be great if they could agree upon it. But he's, you know, going on about how it would be really great for them and yada, 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 and all that kind of stuff. They kiss and she turns cannibal again. She rips his nose clean off his face.
This one was actually one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, because it was like she turned so fast and his nose was gone so fast that he didn't even see it.
All I could think of was, got your nose.
Yeah. Yeah, but she literally.
Yeah.
Literally got it. It was gone.
It was gone. Yeah.
So number 10 on the death toll is Roddy. And he was the one that started it, and it ended with him.
Which, honestly, that death didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, he
was a slime ball. I mean...
The radio comes on and says there is a virus outbreak that is affecting women, but only those that are mothers. And that is the end of that.
Mm-hmm. So I give this movie a 4 out of 5. How about you?
Yeah, I concur.
Okay. It's a really fun ride of just absurdity. It had some really interesting effects. It had like practical effects in a way with the mother's faces turning, and they sort of progressively. It was a progression thing.
Yeah, it wasn't all at once.
Yeah, and you know, like I was thinking about it as you were talking about. I didn't really put 2 and 2 together, but you know, as they progressed into more hunger, they started just attacking whatever. Mm-hmm. At first, it was just the children. And I don't know if it's
first it was food because they were they drugged food all over their house and they were eating everything
But then it was the children, and then it was the husbands, and then a stray cat, and then
they were digging in dumpsters.
Yeah,
and it was crazy.
Hoarding body parts, and it was just. but there was still parts where they were talking like hens, and they were just, like the whole scene where they're in front of that store and it's like, oh, Sarah doesn't have these or whatever, or I have this and it's $10 less now than when I bought it, or just like petty crap that suburban wives talk about.
Cackling hens kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
One bit of trivia for this film is it was actually shot in only 4 weeks' time. I believe that may be the shortest filming time I've ever heard of.
There's one movie I watched that was like shot in like 2 days or something like that, but it was really bad.
I would say so.
Yeah.
And another interesting tidbit, the STD was told to be a virus, but the cure was antibiotics.
Penicillin, to be exact.
Which would only work on bacteria.
Yes. But it wasn't an STD. It was I have it written down. It was an STVC, a sexually transmitted zombie virus.
They didn't say that.
They should have. And I have a problem with the police officer in McCormick. I always think of spices when I think of McCormick.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
McCormick and Hitchcock.
Yeah. But I was thinking McCormick down, repeat, no more pumpkin spice. I don't know why that popped in my head.
Hitchcock killed McCormick. Yeah, I had problems with both of those names. I was just like, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be a good situation.
Yeah, it was like they just sort of came up with names.
Yeah, it's whoever came up with those. They had too much fun.
So yeah, I would definitely check this one out. This was on Amazon Prime. I don't know if we mentioned that or not.
Nah, I think we failed to. I normally write it at the top. But,
Okay, so. And again, like always, the links will be below or somewhere within the information to our Patreon if you want to donate. We do have a merch store and other links that we have. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram if you really want to. We share some stuff, tidbits. I'm going to try to share some more tidbits about ourselves on the Twitter, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, make it more interesting, I guess.
If you guys really want to know stuff about us.
Yeah.
Because we're so interesting.
We really are not. I don't know. Anything else?
I don't know. I mean, I think this film, there's not really a spot in it where it kind of lags or anything like that. It's pretty steady throughout. Sometimes you watch certain horror films, especially the ones that we enjoy, like the B-rated ones, and sometimes it's like it'll be kind of upbeat and then it kind of just drags, and it'll be upbeat
I don't
and
know.
it kind of drags. But this one's pretty steady throughout.
No, it seems like more of the new modern films are that. Like the big budget ones are becoming that way even more. Mm-hmm. That's why we've gone sort of the B-rate, is because even though there's laws, they're sort of still funny. There's just something about B-rated movies, But yeah, like a lot of the newer modern horror movies, they're just sometimes they're really boring.
Yeah.
So. That's why we don't do modern horror movies.
It's overdone.
Yeah. So.
We like to do different things. Well, I believe that's all.
Yeah.
Well, we'll scare you later.
Bye.